On April 13, 2011, 20-year-old Holly Bobo vanished from her Tennessee home. One moment she was walking into the woods, the next, she was gone. Her shocking disappearance would haunt a small town for years. If you want to uncover real-life mysteries and true crime stories, hit like, subscribe, and stay with us, because Holly's story deserves to be remembered. Holly Lynn Bobo was a small-town girl from Darden, Tennessee, a quiet, rural community where everyone knew each other. At 20, she was a nursing student with big dreams. She was soft-spoken, polite, and had a heart full of kindness. She loved hunting with her father, singing in church, and helping those in need. Her mother, Karen Bobo, often described her as a girl who never said no when someone needed help. Holly had the type of trust and innocence that made her loved by everyone in her town. But as often happens in true crime stories, kindness can sometimes make people vulnerable. Holly's friends described her as someone who laughed easily and had a magnetic warmth. Her ambition for nursing came from a desire to help people heal not just physically, but emotionally. Her plans for the future were clear, bright, and full of promise. The day began like any ordinary Wednesday. Holly woke up early, dressed for school, and packed her lunch. Birds chirped, dew glistened on the grass, and the town stirred slowly. By 7:30 a.m., Holly stepped outside into her backyard. Her brother, Clint, noticed her speaking with a man he didn't recognize. He appeared to be wearing camouflage, blending with the woods behind the Bobo home. At first, Clint assumed it was a friend of Holly's, someone she knew. But as he watched, unease grew. The man's grip on Holly's arm was firm, almost controlling, and her body language betrayed tension. She wasn't resisting, but she wasn't walking freely. Clint immediately called their mother, Karen. Panic filled her voice as she realized the gravity of the situation. "That's not her boyfriend," she screamed. "Call 911 now." By the time Clint reached the edge of the woods, Holly and the stranger had vanished. That moment marked the beginning of a nightmare that would shake not just her family, but an entire community. The disappearance of Holly Bobo triggered the largest search effort in Tennessee's history. Over 10,000 volunteers joined in the hunt, combing the woods, fields, and surrounding areas. Helicopters hovered over the dense forests, while K-9 units scoured trails that twisted through the rugged terrain. Despite the massive search, no trace of Holly emerged for several days. Then, investigators began finding small clues: her lunchbox, her pink cell phone case, and torn fragments of clothing deep in the woods. The location of these items suggested one chilling truth. Holly had been taken deliberately by someone who knew the area well, someone comfortable moving through the forest without leaving obvious traces. This was not a random act of violence. It was planned. Darden, Tennessee, was a town of barely 400 residents. The disappearance of one of their own rocked the community. Fear and uncertainty replaced the familiar calm of small-town life. Parents kept their children close. Neighbors locked doors they had left open for decades. Conversations turned to whispers. Who could have done this? Could someone they knew be capable of such evil? Rumors began to swirl, pointing to local men with troubled pasts. One name came up repeatedly: Zachary Adams, a man with a criminal record, known for his violent behavior and drug use. But at the time, there was no concrete evidence linking him to Holly's disappearance. Law enforcement worked tirelessly, interviewing witnesses, following leads, and reviewing every possible clue. Detectives examined cell phone records, combed through the woods, and tracked known criminals in the area. Neighbors remembered seeing strange vehicles on the roads, but nothing definitive. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, yet Holly's case remained unsolved. The frustration was immense. Holly's family endured constant media attention, while desperately hoping for answers. Every tip felt like a potential breakthrough, but more often than not, they led to dead ends. 3 years later, in 2014, a breakthrough finally came. Jason Autry, a friend of Zach Adams, confessed to law enforcement that he knew crucial details about Holly's kidnapping. According to Autry, Zach Adams had abducted Holly from her home, taken her to his property, restrained her, and ultimately killed her. Autry's confession detailed the abduction, Holly's treatment, and the final moments of her life. He also provided investigators with a potential location for Holly's remains, information that would prove critical in confirming the events leading to her murder. In September 2014, searchers found skeletal remains in the woods of Decatur County. DNA tests confirmed the remains were Holly Bobo. Her death was confirmed as a homicide. Evidence showed that Holly had suffered trauma consistent with a gunshot wound, and her body had been left in the woods for years, exposed to the elements. The discovery finally gave Holly's family some answers, though the grief remained unbearable. Following the discovery, Zach Adams was arrested and charged with kidnapping, rape, and murder. Further investigations revealed his brother, Dylan Adams, had also assisted in the crime. Jason Autry, whose confession helped crack the case, testified against Zach and Dylan Adams in exchange for a plea deal. The trial began in 2017. The courtroom was tense, packed with family members, friends, and members of the community who had followed the story for years. Prosecutors presented a mountain of evidence. Witness testimonies of Zach bragging about Holly, Jason Autry's detailed account of the kidnapping and murder, cell phone records placing Zach near the Bobo home, items connected to Holly found at Zach's property, Zach's prior criminal record and violent tendencies. The jury deliberated for days. Ultimately, Zach Adams was found guilty on all charges and sentenced to life in prison without parole. Dylan Adams also pled guilty for his role in facilitating the crime. Holly's family continued to grieve, knowing that justice had been served but that nothing could bring Holly back. Her parents, Karen and Bobby Bobo, spoke openly about the pain and the struggle to cope with their daughter's loss. Clint Bobo, Holly's brother, often relives the moment he saw her walking into the woods. Every path in the forest, every rustling tree, brings back haunting memories. The town of Darden was forever changed. A community that once felt safe realized that evil could hide in the most familiar places. Holly's disappearance and murder became a stark reminder that tragedy can strike anywhere. Even in death, Holly Bobo's story has had a lasting impact. Her family established programs and initiatives to help prevent similar tragedies, and her case led to improvements in missing persons protocols in Tennessee. Holly's story raised awareness about rural abductions, volunteer coordination, and the need for immediate action in missing persons cases. Through her story, Holly continues to teach communities about vigilance, compassion, and the importance of protecting the most vulnerable. Holly's case reminds us of several critical truths. Kindness and trust can be exploited by predators. Danger often comes from familiar faces, not strangers. Communities must remain vigilant. Prompt investigation and public awareness are crucial in missing persons cases. Holly's story continues to inspire changes in law enforcement and community action, ensuring that future cases are handled with greater urgency and care. The Holly Bobo case is a tragic example of how innocence can be targeted, how families endure unimaginable loss, and how justice, though delayed, can ultimately prevail. Her story is not just a cautionary tale, it is a testament to the enduring strength of her family, the resilience of her community, and the importance of never forgetting the victims of such crimes. If Holly's story affected you, like, subscribe, and share this video. Real victims deserve to be remembered, and awareness is the first step toward preventing future tragedies. Every click, every subscriber, helps keep these stories alive, shining a light on crimes that must never be forgotten.